Is it even possible to close high ticket coaching clients without a sales call? And even if you're not in launch, that'll be really good. And recently I found out about this guy called Brian Harris who said he can do this without a single closer. And I was like, right, we don't really have many guests on the show, but come and talk to me about that, please, Brian. So we're going to do that today. Let's get going. Happy Email Marketing Wednesday. We're back again here. I hope you're well. I hope you're having a good one. I found something interesting that's recently, and that is less than 25% of you who tune into this show every single week are actually subscribers to the show. So make sure, if you haven't already, hit subscribe right here, right now. And that way, I know that you're enjoying what we're doing. I also can see that you're actually going to receive these videos showing up in your news feed. Now, recently, I produced a brand new course, all of what I call Email Marketing Sorted. It's all about how I took one of my programs from $27,000 in sales to over $500,000 in sales just by sending a few more emails and triggering 3 psychological triggers in people's brains. And I thought I'd give it to you for free just for tuning into the show. So go to emailmarketingsorted.com and you can download that whole thing, emailmarketingsorted.com, and download it all. So welcome to the show. We don't really have guests on this show very often these days, but I've invited a guy called Brian Harris, who's the founder of Growth Tools, where they really specialize in client acquisition for people like you and me, for coaches who have high ticket programs. And they do it specifically by not using paid advertising and social media, but literally by borrowing other people's audiences. And all that was pretty interesting when I was talking to one of his guys in the team. But when one of his colleagues said that they were closing high ticket offers without a single sales call, I was like, okay, I've got to speak to Brian about this and see what the hell's going on. Because come on, we'd all like to be doing that, wouldn't we? So Brian, hello, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. Looking forward to chatting.
Yeah, it's great to see you. So let's get into this. Let's get straight in. I mean, you're over there at Growth Tools. You're helping people just like yourselves, basically. It's kind of meta, a bit like us, right? To do these things and to close clients. When we talk about high ticket and you're able to close them, and before we get into the methodology that you've been refining and fine tuning, when you're talking high ticket, what's your definition? What sort of price points are you able to make this methodology work at?
$10,000 and up. That's kind of the minimum.
And what sort of ceiling have you seen on this methodology?
I don't know if we've done it long enough to notice a ceiling yet. We're about a year in. I would call us 90% done, but that last 10% sometimes can take longer. So let's do a follow-up in 5 years and I'll give you utter confidence. But mechanically, if you go to first principles of just how sales happen and how people come to hire people to coach them specifically, and that might be a thing just to sit just for a second on, you really have to be wise and discerning when applying different sales methodologies and marketing methodologies to different product types because they all act differently. How you sell a membership in a book and a course, the buying process is just different when you hire a coach, even more so than an agency or somebody. If you think about the product type, a coach is one of, if not your most intimate advisor in your life. There's just things people do naturally when they go to hire someone to advise them on one of their top pain points in their life and to tell them everything that they don't do when they buy a book or something else. So the mechanics are the same. Price point, I don't think matters. The number one variable to price point we've seen over the years, whether it's $500, $5,000, $10,000, or we've sold coaching up to, year long, $150,000, $200,000 or so.
Wow.
Is just the higher the price point, the higher the trust needed for the sell to happen.
Okay.
Typically, trust is developed in 2 areas, time together and talking together. And you can do those in a large variety of ways. But the higher the price point, usually the more of those 2 things you need to get somebody to actually feel comfortable enough, paying you a lot of money to be their most intimate advisor in the core area of their life they need help on. So Those are the mechanics of it. So functionally, there's no price point ceiling. Experientially, we'll report back.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Obviously, we're talking about this in a way that some people might be tuning in thinking, well, the topic that I talk about is not a very revealing or intimate or personal topic. But the truth is, it all is to people. Like, if it's your finances, that's bloody horrifying for some people to talk about. If it's to do with your relationships, well, it's just relationships, you might say. It's all scary. It's all intimidating. So it is a level of trust that needs to be built every time.
Yeah. People don't hire coaches for things they're good at. And they don't pay money for things that aren't top-level problems in their life. So just by definition of someone even subscribing to your list or listening to your show, definitely booking a call or progressing in the sales process, however that's designed for you, a couple things for sure. This is a top 5 problem in their life. And you're pretty sure that they're looking for they're not looking to do it themselves because they probably have tried that and it's failed. So they're looking for someone who's been there, done that, to actually walk you through that death shadow valley that you got through successfully. Now they want somebody to walk them through it that's been there. So this is a top level pain in their life, and they're looking for a guide. And that's just by definition an intimate thing, whether it's finances or parenting or marriage or business or pick your thing. It doesn't matter. It's intimate for them for sure. And they probably feel a lot of shame and guilt in whatever area they've recurringly failed in. Like imagine you've struggled with your weight and being in shape your whole life, or eating whatever version of that you've had. Like one thing you don't feel is a lot of confidence around that thing. And one thing you for sure feel when you talk about it is a lot of shame and guilt around it. Like for sure, those are just things you experience. And you're not going to invite someone in to help you with that you don't feel comfortable with. So like number one step in the sales process, they need to feel comfortable in you, and they need to feel confident in the path you're going to walk them down.
That's really interesting, because the most powerful human emotion that there is shame. And there's nothing more powerful and potent than shame. And so if we really think about what we solve, really we have to really go through shame in order to get and one of the kinds of shame that people have is, I've tried to solve this problem before. I've tried using what ChatGPT told me to do. I've tried that coach. I've tried that program. I've tried to figure out on my own, or do what my parents said, or whatever these things are. And we have to really take people through the trials of shame to get through it. So you start talking about, this is really interesting, because once we realize it's shame we're dealing with, it becomes really clear on the work that's really to be done. I think so often these days, it's easy to think, you watch the big gurus in the space and go, oh, well, all they did was a webinar and they made $1 gazillion. And you go, well, it's not kind of, you don't have their level of anything
That's not true anyway. Like I've worked with most of them.
Right.
This is not true. That's not the story that happens.
Right.
So just select all, delete those out of our brain. Like the person who was successful in 5 seconds by doing the thing, that story is inaccurate. It's not.
Yeah. It's that it takes 20 years to have an overnight success, right? Yeah, exactly. Okay, beautiful. So you started touching on the thing I really want to get into, which is what are the things we need to do in order to get people to buy from us, before we get into your practical, how you've applied those things. And you talked about time spent, and we need to have this, to believe in you and to believe in the path. I'd love you to talk a bit more about that.
So maybe two things. First, we live in an era now, I think Gary Vee and HubSpot together, starting in 2010 or so, single-handedly popularized the idea of content marketing. It's so wild if you zoom back out a minute. Like when I work with clients, when I'm not doing an interview like this, I'm just working with clients one-on-one. And it's kind of wild to talk to people, because I think if they don't have a newsletter, they don't have a YouTube show or a podcast, they're doing something wrong. And I'm like, no, this is like a new thing in all of human history. To think that your business, to be successful, must be a content production company. Those are two drastically different things. So most people think about marketing as content marketing. I got to put out content that gets people to know I exist, and then over time that'll nurture them and get them to hire me. You can do that. The bar for that gets higher every year. And here's your metric for it. The crazier Mr. Beast gets, the more extreme and more talents needed to capture attention and keep it. And he's playing that game to the highest level any human's ever played it. And if you want to do that, go for it. A thing we have found to just be liberating, to be honest, because I played that game for a while, was good at it. And then what's needed to make that work, the bar just went past what I wanted to do and what I was good at. Another thing you can think about when you think about client acquisition is instead of content marketing, think about crisis marketing. Let's say you're a marriage coach. You work with marriages in crisis. And let's say they've been married for 10 or 15 years primarily, and now they're having kids, and that's putting stress, and now they're thinking about getting divorced. It seems to be a whole divorce spike about the 10 to 15 year mark when kids start getting a little older and activities pile up. So you specialize in that. Okay, two fundamentally different approaches to marketing you could take. You could start a marriage podcast and a marriage newsletter and tell people about marriage all the time. That's fine. That's good, I guess. It's a very hard client acquisition channel, though. The other side, think about this fundamentally. There are factually thousands and thousands and thousands of people right now actively looking for someone to save their marriage, because yesterday they got in a fight for the 12th time this month, and somebody finally said the divorce word. Maybe even said they want one, or they're progressing this in the process of getting divorced. Meaning you could market to people in the slow nurture kind of way, which is cool. Or you could just find the people who are in active crisis right now. And what's cool when you market to people in crisis, a couple things. Number one, they are by definition highly motivated to solve the problem right now. They have time urgency, they have internal motivation, and a ton of pain that's going to come up and hit them in their life if they don't solve the problem. But simultaneously, they usually don't have hope. they might think it's probably not possible to save it because, like, we have a client, Kirsten. She works with women who just found out their husbands had a porn addiction their entire marriage. So, like, imagine you're that woman. You have no idea about that whole world. Every dude does, but you don't, maybe being the woman in that marriage. You just found out you've been married for this dude for 20 years and he's been looking at porn every night the entire time. Like, you feel deceived, you feel betrayed, you feel shame and guilt. I should have been better. I should have looked better. I should have done different, all that stuff. But what are you doing right now today? You're Googling, you're searching, you're texting all your women friends, you're in all the women groups, you're talking to your church, you're talking to anybody you possibly can, trying to find a guide. You're trying to find someone to help you because you don't know what to do, but it is a top level crisis in your life. So here is maybe thesis number one. Just find those people. Because all of sales and marketing gets like an order of magnitude simpler when you're selling to people who are actively looking for you right now and have a high degree of urgency and a high degree of pain if they don't find you. So like your sales and marketing skill does not need to be high when you find 10 of those people a day. Literally, can you find 10 humans a day if you're Kirsten, who just found out yesterday that their husband has been looking at porn? If so, you will never have a marketing and sales problem, and you don't even have to be good at marketing and sales. All you have to do is talk to the human. Tell them they have hope. Show them, here's what I did. Do you want to follow me? I can help you do it. And if so, hire me and I'll help you. Like, that's the entire process fundamentally when you focus on crisis marketing versus content marketing.
I often talk about it as if I don't know very much about golf, but a lot of people, when they're marketing, they start marketing the people where the ball is still on the tee rather than when the ball's right next to the hole. Well, if you're going to start learning to play golf, start hitting the ball that's next to the hole into the hole. And this is exactly it. I think this is so good to hear another person sort of saying the same thing. And then as time goes on, if it starts to, I'm sorry.
It's fundamentally just find the people actively looking for you right now. Right. And there's a ton of them. Get to the other people later. Like in the book, Scientific Advertising, what's that guy's name? Eugene Schwartz. He talks about the levels of awareness of the problem. The hardest to market to people are the people that are problem unaware. They don't even know they have a problem. Yeah. But most people start trying to market to those people. I'm like, good luck. You will fail. Because like it's really hard.
And for anybody who's thinking about this and thinking, am I doing that? The answer is, if your marketing is currently trying to show people what their problem is, then you are so far away from a person who's ready to buy. You need really deep pockets and a really long timeline to move them from, oh, I understand, I've got a problem. I didn't realize I had a problem, but I have got a problem, to actually, I want to solve the problem. Oh, it's quite urgent to solve. You've got a long way to go. And and people do this backwards, as you say, they do ours backwards, right? Because they're starting from trying to tell people they've got a problem. Find people are already like bleeding. They're already hopping into the emergency room with their leg hanging off. There's blood flying up the wall. You don't need to tell that guy. You probably want to have that seen to, my friend. He knows. He knows.
And best of all, when coaching them, they're surrendered. They will actually follow you.
Yeah.
Like, okay, so this might be awkward for a minute, but like Track Me, the best-selling book of all time and the most viral idea of all time is the Bible. So at the very least, from a marketing perspective, you should study it to understand, why did that thing work?
Right.
Like, significantly more than any other idea any humans ever had come across their brain. And if you follow the leader of that movement, his name is Jesus, just look who he helped. Look who he spent his time with. They were always the broken people.
Right.
Why? Did he not want to help not broken people? No, it's just really hard to help somebody resisting you. Like it's just difficult. But like there's this parable, I think it's Luke 14, and he has the servant guy, and this rich guy's wanting to throw a banquet. And he's like, all right, who should we invite to the banquet? We got the food menus fixed and everything, and the catering's perfect, and the place is decorated. He's like, all right, go invite all my friends. So he goes and invites all the friends. And these are like upper middle class people. And they're all like, we got things to do and businesses to take care of, and we got the kids doing activities, and no. And literally everyone said no. And the servant comes back and he's like, well, what do we do now? And he's like, oh, that's easy. Just go invite all of the poor, the blind, the crippled, and the lame. Go find the homeless camp around the corner and pass out brochures there. So the servant goes and does it. And he comes back and he's like, all of them said yes. And he's like, I know. He's like, but we got more space. What do we do? He's like, go find another homeless camp and invite more of them. What's fundamentally happening there, and just how that idea spread, the first people that started spreading that, they just went and found the people that were broken and surrendered. And turns out those people follow because they're motivated, they need hope, they need help, they need a guide, and they will actually follow you. So fundamentally in our marketing and sales, just find the people that need help. Don't try to find the people that don't need help. Like it's hard.
Here's what's amazing about when you sell to those people is they also get the most amazing results because the void that you're filling is so much greater. This is not a manipulative tactic that we're talking about here, Brian. I don't think, and I hope not. But this is about who needs the help the most. Like, who can you have the most impact for? Because if that because that's the same person who's the easiest person to sell for. The guy with his leg hanging off and there's blood flying up the walls and he's bleeding out, he will have a lot of impact if you stitch that thing shut, right?
Like, unsolicited advice doesn't work as much as we want it to work. It just doesn't. You could see the solution from a mile away. If the person doesn't want your help, it doesn't matter what you know. So all we're saying is when the higher degree of pain someone is in, the easier it is to help them. And usually, here's what's wild. The transformation usually happens really quick because there's no resistance to adopting the thing. I mean, I've just coached thousands of people. This is just as true of a thing as exists. Like, here's your test. If you're married, go tell your husband or wife something you think they should do. And don't let them ask you. Just go tell them the advice right now, and just see how it works for you.
You might need
a couple about to get divorced and tell them the same thing.
Right.
They'll listen. She won't. He won't, because like they're open. Like literally, they're just open to receiving help. And if people aren't open, the thing that produces surrender is suffering. It just does. People that are suffering will actually receive help. And people that aren't.
We're not talking about creating suffering. We're just finding the people who have already put themselves in that position.
Full of it. There's broken people everywhere, broken circumstance. I have it. You have it. All of us have it.
Right.
It's all there.
Yeah, 100%. So this is really critical for getting into this methodology, because if we've got the wrong people going through your methodology, it's obviously not going to work half as well, 10% as well as finding the people who really need that help at that time. Okay, so let's get into the practicality of what most of us have been doing for decades, is finding that we want to have a high ticket offer of 10K or higher, and we want to help people and we want to enroll them in that. And the thing we've all been taught forever from all those people on YouTube, those YouTube people are the worst, right? Those people on YouTube, and they tell us, so you need a sales team, you need a setter, you need da-da-da-da-da. And you said, no, we're going to try something different, because you had all of that for years.
I'm not anti it. It just has a whole bunch of warts and rashes and problems that come with it.
Yeah, and that's why everyone's tuning in, aren't they? Because they're like, okay, I'm experiencing the pain of keeping my sales team motivated, keeping them retained, finding them, making sure they don't say naughty things that they shouldn't have promised. Like, all the stuff we have to do with mopping up those people.
Yeah, and here's the worst part. If you get really, really good at it, then you'll have a whole nother set of problems, because as your profile grows, the FTC really starts paying attention to what you're saying. And salespeople are, in this market, selling high-ticket coaching, it is a gigantic problem. Mechanically to manage and do well, it's just not easy. It's really difficult. And those people tend to be some of the highest maintenance humans on the planet. Really good salespeople. They're just they're just difficult. Not anti them. I love them. I'm glad they exist. But boy, if I could run a business without them and have the same things happen as with them, I would rather do it without them. Just to be frank. I think every business owner would second that motion.
Sure. And is that what started this process of creating this new methodology? Was going, you know what? I wish we could have this result, but without having I'm always looking over my shoulder thinking, what did they promise?
There's definitely a variable in it. The pain level of that is reasonably high. The amount of brain RPMs you spend per day keeping those numbers in check and those people doing the right thing is just a lot. So not the only factor, but definitely a huge variable in it. So for us, as we started transitioning to that, the fundamental questions became okay, what goes into making a sell? How do you go from they don't know you exist to they know you exist and hire you? And there's three fundamental components. First, you got to have their eyes. They have to know you exist. They can't hire you if they don't know about you. Second, you have to have their heart. So trust. You have to have a reasonable amount of trust to hire an intimate advisor to come in and help you. And number three, once you have their heart, eyes, and hearts, then you can get their wallet, meaning you can actually transact and they can commit to hiring you and paying you money and starting the thing.
Yeah.
And they got to go in that order: eyes, hearts, then wallets. Okay. So from a marketing and sales perspective, all of your fundamental questions, really, they sit in the first two areas of how will I get eyes? So what's my marketing channel? Is it going to be YouTube or SEO or ads? Or we use one called borrowing other people's audiences, where we find people that have already done those things and they tell them about us, and it just solves those two problems itself. But choose your adventure there. And then when it gets to the point of I'm pretty confident that person has the crisis that I solve, I'm pretty confident I could help them, then how am I going to invite them into being coached by me? How is that mechanically going to happen? So a sales call typically sits in that spot. Once someone we bought the ad and they've come to the webinar, the next step is have a call to handle the transaction wallet part of things.
Yeah.
So for us, what we started experimenting with was what we've come to call 7 days of free coaching. So like people will listen to this podcast and some of them will be intrigued about what we're talking about. Some of them will have client acquisition problems. And they're like, yeah, and it's actually the number one problem in businesses. Like every small business, 0 to 50 million, any survey Harvard, Yale, Princeton does always comes back with revenue, clients, customers. It's client acquisition. Don't know how to get people. I want more customers to hire me. So that's the problem we solve. So some people will be listening to this, like, I got that problem. I sell coaching. I'm curious. How does it work? How does BOPA work? How do you borrow other people's audiences? How do you make a really good offer? Is Brian kind of like Brian, but I don't know if I'd want him to coach me. So our next step is just go to growthtools.com/7days. And I'm just doing this by example, by the way, so you can understand the sales process, and literally go do that. And I'll train you and our coaches will coach you. We'll literally get on Zoom calls daily. We'll review your homework. We'll teach you the methodologies and give you the tools you need. And by the end of that, you will know the answer to the 2 questions you need to answer, which is the path that Brian has gone down the one I should go down? And is Brian and his team the people I want to walk beside me while I do it? So a sales call answers those 2 questions, or what we've come to replace sales calls with is 7 days of free coaching where we just do the same thing. It's just a bit more programmatic. And what's cool for us, we're all coaches. So we just love walking beside people through the hardest things of their life. And that's just what we do. We happen to do it in this topic, but it covers other things as you walk with business owners. So just come walk by us for 7 days. We'll show you how we've done it. You can get a feel for us personally. You can get a feel for what we teach and how we think and act. And like at the end, if you liked it, you should hire us because we're really good at those 2 things and you will win. Like as you walk beside us.
This is so powerful. I mean, one of the things I often talked about is the best way to get someone to buy from you or become a client of yours is to show them what it's like to be a client of yours. Mm-hmm. So in this very linear sort of way, this methodology, you're replacing sales calls. I want to talk about your benchmarks when we talked about replacing in a second. So I definitely want to talk about, because you were very, very, very adamant to put benchmarks in place to see if this was literally replacing sales calls or actually it was just a sort of watered down alternative. And we're going to get into the numbers and how it actually works in a second. But the step-by-step process is you get in front of an audience in some way. That could be paid ads. It could be social media. It could be borrowing other people's audiences as you teach. And you invite them to come and experience what it's like. So they register, they now come in and they get 7 days of free coaching. And what's the deliverables that you do? What do you give people during the 7 days of free coaching to allow them to truly experience that to the point where they're willing, after 7 days, a single week, to go, yeah, I'm willing to spend $10K plus. What am I doing in 7 days?
Yeah, so 3 deliverables. And by the way, y'all can just go to growthtools.com/7days and see all this on a page. You can just visually see the components or go in it if you want to and experience it. So that's probably the better way to digest it. But 3 main features. The first thing is training. So I've done that. I'm the trainer. So I give them a video each day, pre-recorded. It's the only thing that's pre-recorded and canned. Second deliverable.
Let me hold you back on that. Each day there's a brand new video from you, and that is unlocked each day. They couldn't even binge them if they tried. It's literally unlocked on each day. How long is one of those videos?
10, 20 minutes.
10, 20 minutes. And they've got actions and activities and stuff to do from those trainings?
Yeah, and key item here, my goal is not to train them how to do anything actually, because they're not ready to do things yet. Before someone can see transformation from actions on a difficult to achieve result, they have to be fully convicted of the path. So all of the curriculum, all of the coaching, now this wouldn't be how someone would experience it, but fundamentally what inspires what someone will go through is the whole goal of the marketing and sales process is full conviction of the path and full conviction of the guide. That's it. If you're fully convicted to do BOPA, to say or how to get offer, and you're fully convicted, I'm a trustworthy guy to walk beside you, you for sure will hire us.
It's like, do you like the yellow brick road and do you want to follow Dorothy?
That's right. There's a red brick road too you can go down. Like this isn't like a one-way thing in most situations. So, but let me fully show you the red or yellow brick road. Let me walk beside you for a while and see if you like it. So all of the training is belief adoption of focused. It's not let's mechanically work on the super weedsy details. Because here's what happens, and we've all experienced this. We might have say it differently. And this is a problem with a lot of the content marketing, actually. It's mostly action focused. And if someone just goes and does actions without being fully aware, convicted of, and bought into and burned the boats of this path, as soon as it gets hard, they're going to quit and turn around. Going back to Jesus for a minute, just as a placeholder for like the most viral idea in human history. He was like, here's the fundamental message he had. He's like, all the broken things you've experienced, just turn and follow me and they'll be well. That's like the fundamental message of the entire thing. Turn and follow and you're good. Now, the cost is be willing to die. So high ticket. But from that, it isn't you don't have anything to do after you follow. But if you followed me, that means just purely pragmatically, it means you've turned from whatever other path you were on. Meaning for us, you've turned from ads and now you're going down BOPA, or you turn from low ticket products to high ticket products. If I'm giving actions to like real mechanical weedsy actions to someone as a coach, and they haven't fully committed to high ticket and BOPA, I am totally wasting their time and maybe actively harming them, because it's not going to work for sure, because it will get hard. And if you haven't fully committed, like it's hard enough if you're fully committed. You're totally screwed if you're halfway committed. Right. So like from a coaching or just an effective product standpoint, sales and marketing is about full conviction to path and commitment to guide. Anything other than that is a distraction and maybe actively hurting them, because they're just going to invest money or time in things and they're looking for actions that produce results. And the thing that produces a result is turning from the old way to the new way and going all in and saying, it's like, apply this to marriage. This is how most people approach business related things, especially client acquisition. They hear about a friend who is married. They're like, oh, marriage sounds cool. All these benefits, and we have kids and Christmas and sex, all this stuff. Well, I should go get married. I heard my friend Grant did it. Let me try it out and see how it goes for me. And like, I can tell you, a marriage that starts like that is totally screwed. Zero chance success. Not because they were a bad match, not because they're bad people, not because really anything other than the mindset they brought into it is totally wrong. Like fundamentally not going to work. But if you date for a while, check core value alignment, check in, just do the basics. You probably find flaws for sure. And then you commit and you make it work. You go in knowing we're going to have fights. We're probably going to want to quit. We're probably going to get annoyed. We're going to fight about sex, money, communication, all the normal stuff. But we're going to make it work one way or another. That marriage is going to be fantastically well. The only difference is we, in the beginning, set the mind to the reality of what's going to happen and fully committed to it. But most people go into these marketing channels and their business in general, like, let me try it out, see how it goes. I heard testing was smart. Let me test Facebook ads. Like, please don't. You're about to flush 50 grand down the toilet. Not because Facebook ads are bad. They're really hard, but they're doable. Same thing here. Before, like all the 7 days is focused on foundationally. Again, a client would, or a prospect would experience it differently. Is let me show you the path in detail, and let me get you to do some things down the path so you can understand it and visualize it for you. And let me just walk beside you so you can get a good feel for me too. And at the end, I would love to coach you if it was a good fit. I'd love to coach you. Here's what that would look like.
I love it. And all the way through that, of course, you get to show your personality, whatever that might be. And when I say personality, people often think, well, I'm not whimsical and witty. Well, don't try to be whimsical and witty then. Like, be sincere or be boring. Like, I don't want a whimsical or witty tax advisor. I want them to be really sincere and boring as fuck. Because if they're not, they're not paying attention, right? So you have to be legit.
Slightly neurotic, a little OCD, kind of boring to listen to, and then I hire you.
Absolutely. Are you? Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm looking for. So I think so. You're showing your personality. You're showing your models. You're having people do activities which allow them to understand the path, and to evoke the emotions, and to really commit to the process and understanding that journey that we're going to go on. All the while identifying with you and going, oh yeah, I like the way he describes things. I like the way he uses that kind of metaphor. Or of course the opposite. I really hate his accent. I hate his hair. I hate the fact he talks about this or that. I always say, I would rather people find out they don't like me before they pay me.
Amen. Yeah, because you want to have hell on earth in coaching. Go get a bunch of clients who don't like you at all.
Yeah.
Like, good luck. Like, honestly, like on this podcast, I mentioned a Jesus analogy or two because we do that in our program. And if you absolutely are repulsed by that, I get it. I used to not at all, but like, that's cool. We're going to do that a little bit. We're going to have church over here or anything, but like, it's just like pragmatically makes sense. Actually, you're kind of crazy not to lean into the best-selling book and best-selling idea of all time and study it at least. But like, that's fine. Like, I would rather them know, but none of it, like for me, I'm so not interested in persuading or convincing or arm twisting anybody.
Right.
It's just like truly at the heart of hearts. I have been through this valley. I know what sucking at client acquisition and being on the stress wheel of paying myself and I know what that's like viscerally. And I know there's a line of tens of thousands of people who are entering that, like literally right now in the calendar.
Absolutely.
Are going through that right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just like, hey guys, all of y'all, I've been through that too. Let me tell you what happened. Let me just give you my testimony of going through it. It was really hard and really one of the most difficult things I've ever gone through in life.
Yeah.
There's hope. You can do it. There's a bunch of paths actually you can do, but I got one. If you want to do it, I'll walk with you because man, that was terrifying.
Yeah.
So if you're into that, let's go. If you're not, like, great, there's plenty of people.
Yeah.
Go find them. So there's like
Absolutely.
when you focus on crisis people, like you just don't have to do any of that stuff. You can just be you, truly, completely you, and the
It's
people that are attracted
what
to
I
you will
like
follow.
about the going for what you call crisis people, or the people who are in the most need, is they don't need motivating. They are internally motivated. So you don't need to create external marketing hype because there is internal motivation, there is internal urgency, there is internal scarcity. So
Yep.
if anyone here watching or listening is thinking, I don't really like countdown timers and launching and opening and closing. If you don't like that, or you want to do that only occasionally, you want to have to not don't want to have to use that every single time, you can appeal to the internal motivators. And the easiest way to do that is to find somebody who's already got that triggered inside of them. You
Yeah.
know,
Higher than anything you could manufacture anyway. So
right,
yeah.
right, exactly. Okay, so let's go back to this process. So we've now got people, rather than a sales call, we've got a 10K plus offer. We've got people enrolling in our 7 days of free coaching. Oh, before we do move on to the actually, how do we convert them? So we're gonna have 7 days of coaching. You're gonna have a video from you each day with a piece of content where you're explaining the path, all that sort of good stuff. Did you test 5 days and 10 days? Why 7?
We didn't test it. We just did 7 days. It seemed about right.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so that's really good to know. So that's kind of variable. And I mean, I think longer than 7, you're going to end it with some
I'm
drop-off.
pushing the ends of it anyway. Like 3 felt too short. I'm like, what can we even do in 3 days? So
Right.
that seemed about right.
Yeah.
It's actually about the sales cycle on a sales call anyway.
Right.
Like if you average out our last 10,000 calls, like, it's about a 5 to 8 day process with follow-ups and everything. So
Sure.
it seemed about right.
It seems about right. Okay. And it gives people enough time to catch up on a day if they missed the previous day's training without running out of stuff. Okay, cool. So we're getting a video from you each day where we get to identify with you and all that sort of good stuff we just talked about. And in addition to that, obviously there's this whole idea of, to spend a certain amount of time, people need to have significance activated in them. That they need to feel like they're not just a number in a crowd. They need to feel seen, which is a psychological motivator called significance. You do that through 2 elements of coaching. Could you just talk us through that a little?
Yeah, so each training has an assignment to do. They're pretty light in 7 days of coaching. They're more deep work than like highly tactical, like really extremely pragmatic business things or they're underpinning. But anyway, at the end of each training, I give you an assignment. You post your assignment, and our coach, we have 2 people that do this coaching. They go and give you a Loom, like video feedback on that element. So you get personal one-on-one video feedback on each assignment. The third thing, so we get training, assignment review, and usually that's done within a few hours, so you don't have to wait very long at all. They're in there doing that every day. It's all they do. And the third thing is live office hours. So each day we have a live 30-minute Zoom session. We just keep the schedule. We host this in Circle just because it's a good container for all of it. So we just go live on Zoom. Like we're optimizing for time with you and talking to you. And the more different ways I can spend time with you, you can see my face and I can see your face and we can talk asynchronously or synchronously, the better. Because that's just warming you up to the guide and helping you understand the path clear, which are, the 2 optimization points. So those are the 3 elements: training that leads to an assignment review that leads to office hours every day.
And this is all happening inside of a circle, so a community environment as well. So I guess there's also an element that I'm not the only person suffering with the thing you solve. Like this is a common problem. Therefore, I've got hope. Other people have gone through this. Therefore, it is a proven path. So it actually has social proof built into the very fact that it's delivered through a community, right?
Yep, that's right. I used to resist that. I actually went years and years and years without any community element to my coaching at all. And that was stupid in retrospect. I mean, it's like single parenting a child as a hermit in the woods. Like that child's going to be weird. There's no way around it. We are built for community. We just are. Like you need it in parenting. Every human needs it, or you wind up with these. Like I'm in a men's group every Tuesday. Yesterday was Tuesday, and I had a knockdown drag out with one of the dudes, and it was needed. It was good. It refined me. It refined him. But like we needed that conflict. You can see it when people don't have community. Will Smith getting up and slapping Chris Rock a few years ago. Here's what I know for sure about Will Smith. That dude has nobody that'll call him out on anything, because the second he got called out, he lost his mind. I'm like, what are you doing, dude? Like, you don't have dudes who make fun of you enough. You don't have dudes that'll call you out on being an idiot. Because if you did, that wouldn't have triggered you like that.
Right.
So like we do weird things when we're not around other people, especially if it's a big, hairy result we're going after. Having a great marriage, having our personal finances mastered, growing a business. Man, those are hard problems to solve. And they take time. They take months and years to master. And if you're doing that by yourself, just practically, about 3 to 6 months in, you would have been fully convicted of the path. You'll be fully convicted of the guide. About 6 months in, if all you have is the guide helping you, that's it, you'll hit hard spot and you'll almost for sure quit, because you'll talk yourself into all these lies and all these stories that aren't true. But if all you have is your parent telling you there's only so much my 10-year-old and 8-year-old and 6-year-old will listen to me. I need the kids on the bus to make fun of them. I need the parents in the neighborhood to help parent them as well. I need a community, actually, to help them, not some marketing tactic. For the actual result to happen, I need other humans in your life telling the same thing in different ways that you'll actually hear. So anyway, that's a long answer to say, yes, you need that.
You do need that. Okay, that's awesome. So we've got them now in a community, which means they're also not being an echo chamber in an echo chamber of their own thoughts. Because when their echo chamber of their own thoughts are negative, because this is getting hard, or I've never thought about this before, or this is challenging, so it's different. But they see others on it. They're sort of almost riding the current of the group. They're in the stampede. So it's hard to stop when you're in the stampede, right? Okay, love all of that. So we're now in this 7-day process where watching the videos, where the person's doing the tasks, the micro tasks, the deep work, and they're getting on some office hours, they're getting the feedback on their work, on the Loom videos in the community, they're doing all that stuff. At one point in the 7 days, do you begin to I'm assuming you're seeding the offer quite early, but when and how do we actually do the transactional part of, here's what we've got that's available for you to buy to take the next? When we're doing the offer stack, when are we, and how are we taking the payment? How does that bit work?
So at the 5-day mark, if they've been active, then we will send them a DM, send them a private message.
Okay.
And start overtly telling them with a bonus to buy about the offer. At the 7-day mark, no matter what your activity level is, everyone, no matter where they've been, will start the sales conversation. Now, there's one primary rule we have now with no sales calls is, before we talk to them about that, and we have a thing called a Q&A call. So if somebody has a logistic questions about the product, we'll jump on, but they're like the most opposite from a sales call thing you can imagine. They're just specifics about how does training work and who's my coach and stuff like that. Not real sales conversations, just logistic questions. But to get deep in the process of that, to have a Q&A call or to do anything deep, we have to upfront share the price and the features. So, and every high ticket sales thing that's effective, those things are done on a sales call behind a gate where you don't know them up front. They're not on a website. They're not posted publicly. You don't talk about them. You defer questions to sales call. So the fundamental difference mechanically, before we talk to you in detail, we're just going to tell you up front what the price and the features are. In fact, we're literally in conversations today about moving that to day 0. Just tell them at the very beginning, actually, versus even waiting till further along. Put it publicly on the website. There's nothing to hide about this at all.
And if anything, it may be, theoretically, it may actually increase the perceived value of the free 7 days if it's positioned as, hey, you're about to get 7 days. Our normal program is normally the full ticket price, so that your price anchored kind of high, and you might have even more adherence and completion on the 7 days, potentially. Okay.
Yeah, so that'd be interesting to mess around with. So at the 5 or 7 day mark, depending on their activity level, we'll start a direct message one-on-one conversation with them where we'll tell them
who's doing that. Is that their coach? Is that a salesperson?
Coach.
That is the coach.
Yep. So everything we do, we have to teach to coaches who suck at sales and marketing. Right. So everything we do, this whole thing, we got to be able to give to people who don't want to be a salesperson, aren't a salesperson, never had sales training, don't know how to objection handle. They hear wallet, I don't have the money, and they abort conversation. We got to be able to give this to those people and at work. Because that's was very rarely actually true. So you have to be able to work through that. So anyway, we need not sales skill trained people to do it. So our 3 kind of benchmarks, you mentioned those earlier. We need not salespeople to be able to do this.
Yes.
We need the conversion rate, meaning lead to sell. We need it to be the same or higher than sales calls. And we need the average order value of cash collected up front at the point of sale to be the same or higher. If those
so you're not even willing to play the numbers game of, well, we don't even have the cost of a salesperson. You're literally like for like conversion percentage, cash collected on day 0 to be identical.
It has to be for lots of reasons. If not, then what you're going to have to do, if any of those numbers are lower, then functionally what's really happening is you're forcing your marketing department to be much better. And it is harder to have an elite marketing department than a really good sales team. So here's what I've heard. A lot of people talk about, well, I've encountered over this last year as we've been working on this, a lot of people who say they do no sell call funnels or whatever, but almost always what they've done is lower the price to $1,000. And even then the lead to conversion rate is like half of what it would be if they had a sales team selling it at 10K. So they've cut their cash collected up front by 10 times and they still don't convert as well. So it's like, is that a no-call funnel? That sounds like you've just screwed yourself completely. And it is. Usually when you dig super weedsy down, it's like, it feels better to a bunch of people who don't want to be salespeople, but numbers-wise, you're really like giving bad advice because that person would be better. You get a founder on the phone and they can usually close even if they suck at sales. The problem comes as you start trying to scale that. So anyway, that's been the sales process. It starts with an invitation. As long as we've had a good experience with the person and we want to coach them, it starts with an invitation once they've been active at day 5 or day 7.
Interesting. And that conversation is what? Like, how does that process work? It's like, you've been engaged. Do you want to continue? It would be a shame for this to end now, kind of thing.
So by the time they get an invite from us, they know the method. They know us thoroughly because that's what the 7 days of free coaching does. You can't not know that stuff at that point. And they also know all the program details because we just overtly shared it with them.
Yeah.
So any questions at this point are weedsy questions about product fulfillment or weedsy questions about methodology. And those are the questions you want. They're easy questions. There could be a payment plan related question in there too. But again, those are really easy questions to have. They're all high buying intent conversations. Really the only conversations I want to have after day 7 are high buying intent. If we had to jump on a Q&A call, cool. We'll just ask mechanical questions. If we need to talk back and forth in DMs of like, who will my coach be? And that schedule won't work. Those are easy questions to answer, and they're just fulfillment questions.
And I guess you've also got a small percentage of, you got a percentage of people who just ghost that engagement because they're just there for the 7 days free stuff.
Okay. Yeah, and that's cool. That's fine with me. Like I don't really want to talk to those people at all at that point.
Exactly.
Because if you went through all of that,
self-weeds them out, doesn't it?
Yeah. And you're not convicted to follow us and do that, then like I actually don't want to talk to you at that point. Like, nothing against you. It's just not time yet. You're not surrendered. You're not open. That isn't anything negative. It's just like you're not a person I can help yet, actually.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's great. So we're now on day 5 or 7. We're now in the DMs on Circle or any platform, wherever it's going to be. And we are having those conversations. They ask you the weedy questions, their payment plan, I can't make Tuesdays, does it work if my shirt's blue, all the detailed questions, which you know the answers to. And occasionally those questions will mean it's just not a fit. That's cool. See you later. And then how does payment work? It's like they're ready to go. You send them a payment link and they pay on the page?
Yep. That's the first DM has a link to buy. And about a third of people just buy without any back and forth conversation of any sort. So yeah, they're literally like, here's the Stripe link, hire us, and we'll talk tomorrow and have your onboarding call. Yeah, it's really simple. Like it's really not complex at all. It doesn't have to be complex.
Right.
Yeah, so if they have questions about mechanics or deliverables, then we just talk about them.
That's awesome. So that DM they get, it's quite a long DM. It's going to have, some acknowledgement, intro bit. It's going to have a link to the full rundown of the deliverables of the program and a link to the Stripe in the DM, or is the link to the Stripe in the informational page with all the information on?
Yeah, we are currently, the last 3 months we've tinkered with the process we're on right now the most, is trying a couple different configurations to see what generates the least amount of questions and the least amount of tire kickers.
Yeah, I know you've been testing this out for like hell because you've been dialing this in, man. You can tell. Yeah. I mean, it's awesome.
Yeah, so we're tinkering a good bit, like literally like today we're messing with that message. But currently there's a couple things that have to happen. How you do it, it probably can be done several different ways, but you have to share price. You have to share features. Now, we had a message we were running for a couple months. It was really long, and it's like, this is too much, actually. You're generating a whole bunch of questions, because what you want to get in coaching and in sales is the right questions, not the wrong questions. You don't want to generate objections yourself by giving too much information. And that's like not obvious until you've done this a while, and you're like, you shouldn't be asking about the schedule of our training. That shouldn't be a question we talk about in the sales process, because we handle that a lot of different ways. Schedule is never a problem. But if we talk about the intimate details of every time of a thing, we're just going to generate 1,000 scheduled objections. And they're like, you don't even need that, because we handle it well in fulfillment. So no one will ever have a scheduling problem. But if I tell you every detail, you're going to invent all these objections because naturally you want to. So there's a little bit of an art. Like what we've done basically is make that message shorter. Say the price, say 2 or 3 sentences on each of the 3 main deliverables, and give them the link to hire you. And let them, and this is coaching too, by the way, Training works like this. If you try to explain every detail of a process, it's too much. They can't absorb it even if they want to. There's an art to give them the simple framework and let them, if they have them, ask you questions and then respond to them and let that lead them into deeper understanding of the thing. Same thing in the sales process. Because at this point, by the way, if someone is going to engage, they are convicted of us in the path. So we know we have someone at this point who's in crisis. They're somewhere on the crisis spectrum.
Sure.
They might not be a 10 out of 10 red alert, but they're not a 0 either, or they wouldn't be talking still.
Right.
So they're in crisis, we know. They're liking us and liking the method, we know. Now it's simply like emotionally, they have committed. Any level of conversation we have at this point is simply letting the logical brain justify and reconcile with the emotional brain. So we want to just eliminate any level of logistical problems they have, and we don't want to invent a bunch of logistical problems for them in the process of that. So any questions at this point are going to be about how would this apply for me, or I've had a bad experience with coaches in the past, and those are easy to answer questions for any human that's just trying to be relational with somebody. So that message is price, details, here's a link. We also currently are doing a bonus for someone who's been through 7 days. I get a 3-day window. We'll go find for them out of our network 10 audiences that want to partner with them, because our main method is getting other people's audiences to promote you. So for the first 3 days, we'll give them that. It's a level of urgency. It isn't a price reduction. I hate all that stuff, but it is a additional value add for them if they want to hire. So there is a little urgency in the 3-day window to make a decision now and not wait. Because once people once they're emotionally committed and get a logical brain, just weird crap happens for you over here. You'll just get in your own way a bunch, even if you are in crisis, even if you're fully committed. So that helps them get past the logical kind of reconciliation.
It's almost like preemptive buyer's remorse, isn't it? Like your logical brain goes, might I regret this? I've regretted things before. When have I regretted? Oh, there was this one time. And you start telling yourself all these freaking stories in your head. Whereas, and that's why I always love as well. I love that you guys do this. So aligned in that I'm way prefer to give somebody something extra than if they take action now, rather than doing a discount, because it's like get more for the same price. Yeah, okay. It's like when you go buy a new car and they're going to give you the XL version of the car for the price of the L version of the car, then you're going to go for it. That's why it works. That's why it's always worked. And it doesn't devalue the product or service. I think
and we give a discount if they pay in full. So because the other thing you have to do, well, there's several things. We can get weedsy on price, but like we want as many people to pay us for the first year up front as possible.
Right.
That actually is in their best interest and our best interest. So they don't totally know this on the front end. They don't see it that way, but it is fundamentally true. If they fully commit to a year financially and consciously out loud with their mouth, they're going to be more locked in. And secondarily, like our business finances are going to be better.
Yeah.
But primarily their result rate will be higher because they'll be less likely to quit in month 3 to 6 when it's hard. So we got to optimize for that as well. So we give a discount if you pay in full, but not a discount if you buy now, or a discount if you have in a 3-day window or something. It's like, we'll give you extra things. And if you want to pay all up front, which is in your best interest and ours, then we'll do that. So that works well.
That's awesome. That's great. Is there any part of this that we've accidentally skipped over that you think is really important we'll need to know about? I feel like I've got it. I just want to make sure there's nothing that you think, no, you guys, you need to know this.
I think what I love teaching first is the first principles of a thing. Like what is the fundamental thinking of this? And why does that work? And now here's how we've skinned it. Here's the frame we put on it and the headline we put on it and the way we've described it. But you can take the fundamental first principles. We talked about the fundamental first principles of sales and marketing, many things here. So like those things are just deeply true.
Right.
Like you can not like, that's up to you. It doesn't really matter to me, but like people that are surrendered, people that have suffered, they follow. They just do. So go find those people and help them. They need it the most anyway. Those things are just true. How you skin it and do it, like you could probably do it a lot of different ways. We're a year into like daily experimentation every day. And like, I just tell you, like it works. You can totally do it.
There is something I just thought, I think it's amazing, like keeping those core principles. One of the practical things is this is not cohorted. So I'm assuming. So literally somebody could join today, their 7 days start today. Is that how it works?
Yeah. You don't want to cohort it. It just gets too complex logistically.
Yeah. Because then you've got all the day ones and you've got 7 rounds of it. And oh my God, what a nightmare.
You'll be able to every day. Or you'll wind up, people have people's, and in the marketing process, you don't have people's committed attention. You have short windows. So if you come in, if somebody listens to this podcast was like, I want to do that. Like, legitimately, I want 7 days of free coaching. I'm curious in BOPA and high ticket stuff. Like, you should do that. growthtools.com/7 days. But if they got to wait till next Monday to start, I've almost for sure lost them because I don't have enough commitment yet. I need them to be able to schedule an onboarding call and be on it this afternoon.
Right.
And if you do that, boy, like
Right.
you're locked in.
Yeah.
Or tomorrow if that time doesn't work. But like, I need you to be able to start immediately because I got short attention span in marketing. I have longer attention span when you're a client because you've paid and you're paid attention and you're just more locked in. But right now, it needs to be able to work quick. I don't need to be able to wait.
Right.
Or
That's
you will
interesting.
never pass the no sales team test. Like your conversion rate will just suffer.
Will drop. And that's an interesting thing that you said there. I love that detail, which I'm pleased we accidentally sort of stumbled across there. That's genius, which is when they enroll, they get an onboarding call one-to-one, and that happens either the same day or the next day. So that's within 24 hours, right?
Yep. We have those every day.
So
it's like today, and we literally have a calendar they can just choose from.
And is that 7 days a week? Like you have them covered on Saturday, Sunday?
5 days.
5 days a week. Okay, cool. So if they join on Saturday, they're going to book it in for Monday. Yeah. But they're
People
7 days.
Weekly calls anyway. Like show up rates are. We've done. I don't know how many tens of thousands of sales calls. They just don't show up anyway. So
right. But their 7 days still starts on the Saturday if they join on the Saturday.
Say that one more time. Sorry.
Their 7 days of free coaching starts on the Saturday if they join the Saturday. It's just
that their onboarding call forward. So onboarding call is the kickoff. Yeah.
Got it. Okay. Got it. So it gets okay, understood. Okay, yeah, brilliant. Oh, awesome. Well, folks, if you want to go and experience what it's like to go through this and actually see the details of it, because I've tried to squeeze out as much of this out of Brian as I possibly could. And I was brutal, man. So you nailed it, by the way. Thanks for letting me squeeze it all out. It was great. But if you want to go and experience it, I'm certainly going to go and do this. That's not me just giving airtime to that. I'm so curious to see how this goes. We're going to go to growthtools.com. So that's growthtools.com/7 days. That's the number 7, right? So growthtools.com/7 days. And of course, we'll put the link to that in the description as well. If you want to go and see what it's all about, if you also want to experience it, but also check out how Brian and the team at Growth Tools are using other people's audiences to grow their businesses reliably, consistently. Because as I always say, you do not need to go and build an audience. You need to assemble an audience that somebody else has already built. So awesome stuff, man. Thank you so much for joining me, man. I really appreciate it. This was great fun.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Folks, if you haven't already, make sure you hit subscribe to the show, and I'll see you all next Email Marketing Wednesday.